everyone, Marie here for some Real Talk with Coffee. I've been noticing in the last few weeks, I've worked with a lot of folks worked with a lot of couples in a workshop I did. There's just a lot of folks I've been around where I'm hearing the same statement made over and over again. I don't know how we got here, or I'm not totally sure how I got here. And what I'm hearing that's so interesting and that resonates with me so personally is this idea, especially from some of the women I've been meeting, where they end up kind of in more traditional, the family in general ends up in more traditional gender roles than either person in the couple thought they would. Right? And I mean, it also reminds me a lot of so many parents I know. How many of us have done things where we said, I'm not going to do that as a parent, or I'm not going to do that thing that my mom or dad did for me. I'm not going to do that. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves doing it. And so I'm thinking a lot about so many people I know, especially as their kids get a little bit older, you come out of the fog of sleeplessness, you look up and you're like, how did we get here? I know I've had that thought for myself, I'm a feminist. How did I end up being the person in charge of cooking in my house? Not that those two things are completely antithetical, but it just wasn't what I anticipated when I kind of went into this thing we call adulthood. So I just want to share one thing that I've been thinking about and trying to really think about for myself is I think that there's value in looking back in sort of choices we've made in the past, or maybe choices that we didn't make but kind of got made for us and we didn't have a lot of options for pushing back on. So these things that happened or that we made choices about that we look back and we're like, oh my gosh, those lots of little choices led to this place where all of a sudden I'm taking on more in the household than I thought I would, or I'm falling into these traditional gender roles, or I'm starting to act like a parent in a way that I did not plan on acting. And we start to look and say, well, how did we get here? There's value in looking back and figuring that out. But I think there's even more value in looking forward and saying, okay, I'm here now. What are the micro choices, those little choices I'm going to make moving forward to get to where we want to be? If we have values in our family that we're not currently living out because of all these little choices we made earlier, or because all these other things that got thrust upon us, how can we make different choices moving forwards? Or what are we going to do to move the ball down the line? And so I know I'm thinking about it for myself, thinking about the traditional gender roles piece and how that plays out. I know in my family, even with my husband being a stay-at-home dad, and there's still these sort of traditional emotional roles we play that are very, very gender-based. And so I've been thinking, I spent a lot of time over the last few years getting mad about how we got here. And that's productive to a point, real talk, but it's not productive after a certain point. And so I want to encourage you today, if you're feeling at all like, how did I get here? How did I get in this position, whether it's traditional gender roles or whether it's the kind of parenting you're doing or the kind of work you're doing? How did I end up in this place? Take a minute to think about that, but also take equal time to say, where do I want to go? Not just what do I want to not do, but what do I want to do? What kind of parent do I want to be? What kind of relationship do me and my spouse want to have together in our household? Thinking about that more proactively, I think, is just as important as figuring out, how did we get here? How did this happen? Or in my case, how did I become my mother? So things like that. Worthwhile thinking about the past, but just as important to think about the future and what kind of micro choices you can make from this point moving forward. So a little generalized, but I think it's worth thinking about over some coffee. Thanks so much for joining me.